All right, what is up, everybody? Clayton Safey here from the Wolverine.com. I'm outside of Sterling Heights Stevenson High School. They just took on Grosse Pointe South. Sterling Heights Stevenson, of course, the home of Rivals 100, Michigan offensive line commit Giovanni El-Hadi. He played on the defensive side as well. Grosse Pointe South, the home of five-star 2022 Michigan cornerback target, defensive back. He played wide receiver all night long. He played wildcat quarterback and scored 3 touchdowns. First, we'll talk about how the game went. Sterling Heights Stevenson had control the entire way through, but late in the game, a couple turnovers went in Grosse Pointe South's favor, and they were able to come back, actually tie the game after being down 14 points late in the third, tie the game at 35 with 2 Will Johnson scores. So he was able to knot that game up, and then at the end, Sterling Heights Stevenson pounded the football as they did all night long, relied on Giovanni El-Hadi, the big mauler, Michigan offensive line commit, to get that push up front. They were able to do that, score a big touchdown run at the end, and then Grosse Pointe South was not able to muster anything up right at the end of the game, and Giovanni El-Hadi's squad walked away with a conference championship in the Division I. That's where they'll be participating in the playoffs. So a Division I school over the Division II school, Grosse Pointe South. So overall, a good win. Both teams are 3-1 coming in. Let's talk about the 2 guys that I was here to see. Starting with Will Johnson, the 5-star defensive back. He said on the first play of the game, somebody slid in and hit his ankle. It was badly bruised. And I noticed that right away. I wasn't sure if it was something he came into the game with or not. But it turns out after talking to him afterwards that it was that first play of the game that really hurt his ankle. So he was playing hurt the entire game. I could tell that. He was limping around in between plays, but it was a gutsy performance. I mentioned earlier that he had 3 touchdown runs, all out of the Wildcat. He had a few receptions, but they weren't trying to get him too involved because he was limping around. But when they needed him most, he was at the Wildcat quarterback spot picking up tough yards. And again, he's a defensive back, but he is big. He's a physical player. He played a gutsy game here tonight. So I really like his game a lot. I wish I could have seen him at full strength just to get the full Will Johnson experience. But again, this is a top Michigan target in 2022, arguably the most important priority for Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines in that cycle. His dad, Dion, of course, played defensive back at Michigan, so that's a big factor. He said he's going to be rooting for Michigan this season. Let's flip over to the other side, the victorious Sterling Heights Stevenson squad, Giovanni El-Hadi. There were some questions earlier in the season, at how physical he plays. He played really physical tonight. I was impressed by his physicality. It was the number one thing I was looking for out of him, just because there was some question marks. Last week he had a clip go viral of him, quote-unquote, excessive blocking a kid into his own bench. And we kind of laughed about that when I talked to him after the game. I asked him about it, and he said that it was basically a BS call. I agreed with them, excessive blocking. But that was last week. This week I was looking for more of that. He provided it. He was quick and pass pro, but also, again, a mauler in run blocking. Played on defense as well. He said he prides himself in the ability to do that and made some plays, had a couple quarterback pressures, had a couple tackles for loss. So overall, a really good performance from him. He's pumped to watch Michigan in just 8 days take on Minnesota. He said he'll be watching with some of his teammates next Saturday night. But that's all here from Sterling Heights Stevenson. It was nice to check out Will Johnson and Giovanni El-Hadi.